I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. It's good to see everyone. We almost need extra chairs, but I think we're good. There's a bunch up front.
Your bean bags with that.
Oh, I like that. All right. Did you get to approve or review minutes?
I missed that. The one that I missed. I wasn't here.
No. This was the December 23rd.
Is that it?
I've read them.
Okay. I thought you were here.
I forgot I was here.
It was the one before that.
This is a bad
so,
start.
Yeah. All right. Any questions or comments on the meeting minutes?
I have none.
I'll take a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor to approve the meeting minutes from December 23rd?
Aye.
Aye. Bonnie. That. And then we had a non-public for RSA 91-A:32A, and we made a motion after the meeting to keep those meeting minutes sealed. And we opened the meeting minutes from 12:23 to review prior to that. So I'm going to make a motion to reseal the minutes from 12:23. So first we'll do the reseal of 12:23. I will make a motion to do that.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then to seal the minutes from February 25th, 2025.
Second again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sign. It's not staying stuck, so we'll have to tape that one.
Yeah, that's,
There we go. One more. I have to reseal that one. Thanks. Okay. All right, the first is an accommodation letter to the Chief of Police. Mike, do you want to do this? Take it.
No wonder everybody hates these.
I know this is a little unorthodox, and it's usually the chief that gives them out, but I think it speaks to his leadership that he has instilled. Would you guys like?
What did I do?
Yeah, I have one here, so, yeah, I think we can.
thank you.
He's blushing. The chief is blushing.
So, dear Chief Pearlie, as a lieutenant of Jackson, New Hampshire Police Department, I would like to commend you on your exemplary courage, professionalism, and dedication demonstrated on 12/31/2025 during your response to a motor vehicle crash over an embankment on Dundee Road with a patient entrapped and pinned between the vehicle and a tree. Your actions reflected the highest standards of law enforcement service by climbing into the vehicle without hesitation to render medical aid, to include properly assessing a crush injury, preemptively applying a tourniquet, assessing for further injuries, and comforting the patient until the vehicle could be pulled away from the tree. Your conduct not only protected life and prevented further injuries, but also strengthened public trust in our police force. This dedication serves as an inspiration to fellow officers in the community we serve. On behalf of the Jackson Police Department, I extend my sincere appreciation and gratitude for your outstanding service. Your commitment to duty and honor is truly commendable.
Thanks, Mike.
Everybody. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Chief.
If people don't know, the police officers that we have in Jackson are also EMTs, which can come in pretty darn handy. And we always commend the Bartlett Jackson ambulance attendees. So when they're not there yet, we sometimes have to rely on the police, and we really they work together extremely well. So it's very valuable to have both of those professionals on board. Sorry. That's okay. All right. The town office hours are we're proposing to amend them, so Julie and Betsy and Karen and Gloria have talked about closing the office hours from Tuesday and Thursday at noon. They're normally open till 3, but closing the office those 2 days at noon. It's the amount of work that's come into the office, especially with the audits and some of the other paperwork and documentation, really warrants some extra uninterrupted hours. So, any thoughts or questions
No, when
on
you say
that?
closing hours, they're gonna be in the office
They're
working.
gonna be
We're
there,
just
they're
not letting
closing
the
the
public in.
windows.
Yes, okay.
They're locking the door, turning off the lights, and pretending they're not here.
Yeah.
Any questions
No,
on
I
that?
don't think it makes sense.
I'll make a motion to change the office hours for the select office and the town clerk's office to close Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon.
I'll second that. Go.
You got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all for the work you guys do in the office, and does that mean we can't come in? No.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a key can come in.
Anybody.
Thank you. I'm going to add a little additional note in here. So Karen had requested that we change the clerk fees for bounce checks from $25 to $50. Our bank charges us more than $25, so we want to raise it to at least cover our costs plus some administrative fees. So if there's any thoughts or other than that, I'll entertain a motion to raise the bounce check fee from $25 to $50.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Karen. Hope you don't have too many of those. All right. This is for the use of the Old Jackson Library, and I know we have a couple of attendees here. So who's speaking up on behalf of the old library? Barbara.
Why not?
You just got nominated, I think. Speak up.
We are going through some changes. We had a meeting with our lovely ladies from the office, and their workload is incredible. And I've been here when I was doing my assistant treasurer kind of stuff. And we had a meeting, not just discussing the fact that we were thinking maybe we could do some of the stuff that they do.
Mhm.
However, we also wanted to make sure that we were amending the charges that are made to the library.
Right.
We discussed the fact that there are just too many keys out there. And we're really, and especially Alicia, she's very, very protective of that library.
Mhm.
And we wanted, we changed some of the rules and regulations if you are using them. But what we're looking at is possibly working together with the Whitney Center and sort of gearing our calendars together, that hopefully they will take on some of the brunt of it, and we have definitely known as the OLs of the old library,
Mhm.
because we're all in age. So we are the old ladies of the old library. We take care of all the gardening, all of the outdoor stuff. But as far as events that are going on and schedules that are going on, we'd like to incorporate them, and we're going to be asking the Whitney Center to do just that.
Okay. I'm the liaison on that committee, and they
I
do
know,
it.
that's why I was
They
talking
do
to
an
you.
incredible job, and they started the community calendar, which I think you folks use as well. So it's not in place of or in addition to. It's in addition to the town calendar that we use for the government site, but it has all of the activities that anybody can post and participate on, and that's a really wonderful way to look at all of the other events that are in the town of Jackson. That being said, Greg Marcello and Bridget Hurley do most of the event planning and organization there. So, and Tish is the chair of that committee. I'm sure you know all this, but I'm sort of stating it for the public. So let's start number one with the fee schedule, just real quickly, because I think you want to amend some of the fees for some of the recurring classes that are they were at $20 for a base fee plus $5 per hour, and you want to increase that to a $25 base fee plus $5 per hour. And then major events such as a wedding or a reunion, something that's a one-time event, would be raised from $100 to $150. And then the meeting space for like Jackson lodging establishments normally was $50. Now we're raising it up to be $100. This isn't certainly generating millions of dollars in revenue. It's really more to cover the administrative costs and the time. And also, the library's getting used a lot more, correct?
It is, and we, because it is, I think we also, I think you'll see that as far as the guidelines, we've changed a lot of the guidelines as well. There's a lot of canasta, bridge, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we would like people, as far as the yoga people, if people are making money using the library, we want them to pay a fee.
Right.
And also, anytime anybody wants to do anything, they can make a donation. We love donations.
Right.
That covers a lot of stuff, like flowers and keeping the place decorated. We're also adjusting when there is an actual contract that will be every 3 months, whoever is using the library, especially if it's a Jackson resident who invites other people in to do it. We are going to ask that that person every 3 months comes in and does that contract, and at that point in time, they will maintain the key. And other than that, when people are not going to be reusing it again, the key should be returned, and we will be asking for a deposit on the key. We just feel there are just too many keys out there.
Do you have all the keys accounted for now, or are you planning on changing the locks and sending new ones, or?
My suggestion that we change the locks, but there are some people that will not give back the key. And there are a couple that we know of, and so that would be our consideration, would be to change the locks.
Right. Do you have any idea how many keys are out there that you don't have, and what the cost would be to change? Just curious. Okay.
We don't have any
Starting
idea.
out on that one. And then the last question I think I have is, you said that the girls in the office, Julie and Betsy, do a lot of this paperwork because the applications come into the office of the selectmen. Are you planning on taking that part over and taking over the applications and the maintenance and administrative side of that?
That's the one thing that we want to work with Whitney's as well.
Yeah.
We want to take as much away from the girls as possible.
Okay.
I mean, they can return contracts here and what have you, and then easily we will know. But we're not asking for us to take it over. We're not capable of doing that sometimes.
You just want to make sure it's in the right place, that it gets,
Absolutely want to make,
Accountable,
this is
organized.
a fine time for another Jackson building to be in companionship with the town and not looking at it as like an independent little individual.
So I had a question on just what that would look like when you say in partnership with the Whitneys. What changes?
That they would be taking over more of the administrative things that
The
the girls are
paperwork.
doing, and the bookings, et cetera.
Okay.
Managing the calendar.
Managing the calendar.
Okay, and have you looked into the cost of changing locks? Do we know what that is?
No.
Anybody have a
We're
ballpark?
probably looking at around $500.
Okay, all right. And have you considered an amount for key deposit?
yep, that's
Yeah.
on here for $25. I just saw that before.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
on
good.
number
That
3.
kind of
Yep,
dovetails in with what I know other buildings
yep.
ask for. They get separate checks, one for the room use and one for the key, and that's great. Okay, thanks, that helps.
And I see you, Sarah, just hang on one second, Frank. Anything? Okay, Sarah?
I was just going to ask if they were going to make the key one of those that says cannot be duplicated.
I would highly recommend that, just,
Like the keys that they have now, you can't do it.
yeah. Thank you, that's a good point to keep in mind. So for today, I think what we can do is definitely, if you guys agree with it, we can make a motion to approve the fees. And then maybe once you meet with the Whitney committee and find out how that will transition over, then we can move towards transitioning the administrative side of things.
That would be good.
And then moving towards changing the keys, it sounds like $500 would be money well spent, and you would recoup it from the key deposits that you get back pretty quickly. But I would wait and see what the actual cost is, an estimate of how many keys you think you'll need, because that'll dictate how much you need there.
Just to clarify though, a deposit would be for the key user and they would get that deposit back.
Correct.
So we wouldn't be taking in money from that.
Yeah,
But,
it would at least cover the initial cost of, yes, you're right, it's like an escrow, escrow for our
right,
keys.
exactly.
One of the reasons that we wanted to do this is to check out the costs of different things so that maybe there is, the town has a fund for all of the buildings. And if it would be imperative, or should we have some sort of add something to the.
Like an expendable trust fund for maintenance of town buildings type of
Which
thing?
we already have.
Yeah.
So perhaps to ask.
Actually, the old library has one too, with residual money left over from the,
Right,
there is one for the old library specifically.
so let's let's incorporate all of that conversation, and maybe we can meet either at the next meeting or whatever, but, and honestly, like, I think if we're all on the same page of transitioning this, we can talk through emails, you can let us know what's going on, and we can update at the next meeting. Okay, so, any conversations about fee schedules?
No, I don't have any, I was just looking around the room, we've got
Yep.
standing room all the way, there's a
Yeah.
chair up here,
There's
and
one
there's some
chair and
chairs
there's-
over here,
Yep.
if you
Bring
wanna.
some chairs up for this well.
Yeah.
If you guys
Yep.
want to grab a chair and get it up.
Chair in front.
Sharon, I can move my stuff here too.
There.
Come join the table. If you dare. Anybody else, you've got, tired of standing, come on up.
Like you said, right?
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will. All right, so getting back to this, I think I will, all right, folks. All right. I'm going to make a motion to increase the fees on the recurring class charges from 20 to 25 for a base fee and $5 per hour. For a major event, from 100 to 150 per event, from 50 to 100 for meeting spaces.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then moving forward, we'll talk about any of the other changes and transition to the administrative side. Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate you taking such great care of that treasure of a building too.
I just have one more question before
Yes.
we move off. So is partnering with the Whitney Center, does that require anything from us? Are we gonna be, do we need to formalize that with a motion, or are you just going in that direction and keeping us posted?
Go, I mean,
We
it's
still have
really,
to set up an appointment with them.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Great.
So it depends on whether or not they want to take it on, then we might talk about
Oh,
other
okay.
things too.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. I have the wonderful pleasure of announcing that the police department received a very generous donation of $1,000 to the police department fund. So congratulations, it's well deserved. I will
Wonderful.
make a motion to accept the $1,000 for the Jackson Police Department.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And just in case.
Is it already spent, Chief?
No,
Oh, great.
we save it for a rainy day.
Wonderful.
No
Very
rain
nice.
till April.
That's right.
Okay, COAS Advisors is our outside accounting firm, not to be mistaken with our accounting firm that does our audit. This is our advisory firm that does day-to-day work with Julie and Betsy, mostly Julie on the accounting side, but there is an annual contract that we review. There's some new options, so if you look at the email, do you guys have that in front of you from that? So there's two proposals. Option one moves from $22,200 up to $24,000, and it's just a cost of doing business increase. However, option 2 increases to $27,300, and the difference is that gives Julie a lot more one-to-one meetings with Kendra on a monthly basis. Kendra is her main contact, and that really helps confirm workload, questions that Julie has. It's a much better deal than trying to do it hourly or not calling because you don't want to necessarily spend the money. And they're extremely professional to work with. The other thing that's involved in this is converting from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. Being an accountant and a QuickBooks expert, it's a major undertaking, but absolutely worth it. And we have been putting it off for a long time. So with the audit ongoing for the foreseeable future, that'll make a huge difference to be able to have QuickBooks Online. So that $2,945 is for a 2026 year expense, one-time expense. And then the new capital asset list for the auditors is a one-time cost of $4,000. That is not really an option because the auditors need to have that to complete the audit. That moves our contract with Cohos from $22,200 in the year 2025 to a proposed contract amount of $34,245. Do you have any questions on what I just said or any thoughts on the depth of it?
Just a couple clarification questions. The current contract, are we paying an hourly rate for phone assistance?
No, it's quarterly.
Okay,
So they do like our quarterly payroll. They do some of our Department of Revenue forms.
and so this proposed contract has them available for what, technical assistance or?
Yeah, well, Kendra and I will meet monthly to go over DRA requirements and,
Okay, got it.
yeah.
So that's the big change, is
Yeah,
that you're
yeah.
going from
We
quarterly
met
to.
quarterly last year, so,
Yeah.
and it was just not enough. We needed to
Okay.
do more, so.
Got it.
And,
can you
and
give me?
just,
sorry.
just to go on top of that, the requirements for the audit make these meetings even more imperative
Yeah.
because the documentation that Julie now has to keep.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
And give me an example, what's on the capital asset list?
Oh, everything.
Everything
Like-
the,
Every
Furniture,
equipment,
file
furniture,
cabinets?
infrastructure.
every vehicle,
Yeah, bridges.
buildings.
And it's all the depreciation value of everything within the town.
And so
And it goes back
that's,
to like 1980s, the
Okay.
1980s.
and are they gonna compile that
They're
asset?
doing that right now. I've sent them most of our information, but we're working together on that list.
So you don't see that as a recurring annual
No, that's just
cost?
a one-time cost.
That
yeah. And
$4,000?
it's required by Plodzik and Sanderson. So.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, once they have that together, it'll be
Yeah.
a maintenance type of,
So
Thing
we had it,
included in the-
I found a list from 2010, before my time, and I sent it to them. That was the only capital asset list I could find in the town
And they did,
records.
they
So-
said this is not adequate.
Oh, no, didn't work.
Okay.
any questions?
Well, I can make a motion then, if we're ready to make
Yes,
a motion, that
absolutely.
we contract with Coas Advisors on the option 2 option that will include the building of a capital asset list and allowing us to have monthly meetings rather than quarterly.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thanks for putting that together, so clear and helpful.
It's nice to continue using COAS because we've been using them for years, so
Yeah.
they're very familiar with our accounting. Okay, fun times here. Policies, review, and adoption. Some of this is sort of boilerplate that we do every year, but what we're doing is doing it all at the beginning of the year instead of a few throughout the year. And some of these are also new based on, again, what the auditors are requiring. So The first is our investment policy, which again is something we do every year. It was adopted in March 31 of 2013, and we really haven't changed the meat of it. So it talks about our investment policy as it applies to all of the financial assets in the town. And this is something that we have to have. It's not written against or towards any RSA or anything, but it's something that the town is required to have. Any questions? Did you want to read? Are you looking?
Nope.
It's
Nope.
not in the ordinance.
No, I see that.
Okay.
I'm looking over
Because
here
if you
too.
want,
What do you got?
if you wanted to look at it.
No, it's
Investment
okay. I think I
policy.
saw it.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I have none.
I'll make a motion to approve the Jackson, New Hampshire investment policy.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Sign it all. Sign that. Thank you. The next one is our fund balance policy, and again, this is something that's very standard that we need to have. It talks about how we need to maintain the non-spendable fund balances, the restricted fund balances, committed fund balances, assigned fund balances, and unassigned fund balances. And it also speaks to the percentage ranges that the New Hampshire Government Finance Officers Association recommends that we stay within. So that gives us a guideline of where we want our fund balances to be. And I'm proud to say that we're really good at keeping them within those ranges. So questions or discussion on that?
So you're not seeing any changes you would recommend to this document either?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it before.
And the way we've been handling the fund balance is acceptable to.
It is
state and
acceptable,
to our
and-
taxpayers too.
Yes, and we're very fortunate that we don't fall under the recommended fund balances.
Right.
And we are also fortunate that we get to use some of our fund balances to give back to the taxpayers some money that they've already paid in to try to reduce our taxes. So, motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve reapprove the Jackson fund balance policy as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right?
Aye. And again, we did that first in April of last year, but now we're doing it at the first part of the year for each one. Alright. There you go. All right, this is a new policy, and this one is based on the recommendation of the auditors, and it's a procurement policy. So right now, we don't have one. All the department heads have their own budgets. They can make purchases and spend their budgets accordingly. Again, being very fortunate, we don't have any departments that spend too much money or go over their budgets. But what this does, it gives us an accountability more beforehand for large purchases. So we're gonna have a little discussion on this just to see what you guys think on purchases. What this would do, this procurement policy would do, would set a limit on single purchases of goods or services in the amount of X dollars or more. So right now we have $10,000 or more. So I'll use an example from last year when Jim Langdon, our highway department highway manager, had to purchase a new mower and it was $17,000. We don't have any policy that says you need to go out to bid or what's the circumstance. Not saying that anything was done wrong, we're just saying that we need to put a policy in place. A lot of times you don't have the luxury of getting 3 bids and waiting to have a select board meeting. So this still sets some parameters in place, and the mower, again, is a good example. The mower was broken, we needed one, Jim was able to find one, and it all worked out. But this gives us a policy in place for major purchases or any purchases that are not, I'll call them standard. The second thing is on credit cards, where we're limiting the credit card use to a specific amount. We have $2,000 in here, but that's up for discussion. on whether or not that's too small or too high. And then we don't have a competitive bid process. And for, mostly for large purchases, like mostly vehicles, I would think, police cruisers, fire engines, highway department, we don't have any kind of bid process. Policies, you look at them and you go, why are we doing this? Why do we have to put something in place that takes a lot of administrative time? It can stop a process in its place when we need to make, when we need to move on things. But it's really a necessity. We're getting to be a lot more busy and we're spending a lot more money. Equipment is much more expensive than it used to be. So I think that making sure that we're dealing with the right vendors that we want to deal with, we're getting the best service, not always the best price, hopefully both, but making sure that if we're buying a new police cruiser, that we make sure it's exactly what we want. We're not settling for something. We're also going to be getting return service on that vehicle, that we know what the full cost is, not just the guts of a police cruiser, but what the add-ons are, et cetera. So it gives the select board a chance, as well as the taxpayers and voters, a chance to see what the money is being spent on. So that's me rambling on about a procurement policy. Bob or Frank, do you have thoughts about the limits?
No, I wasn't going to talk about that.
No, that's okay, go
I was just
ahead.
talking about the discretion of selectmen, and it's in here about the select board reserves the right at their sole discretion to reject any and all bids, wholly or in part, to waive any informalities or any irregularities within, to accept any bid, even though it may not be the lowest bid. That's important because we have a lot of vendors that we work with.
Yep.
There's a certain sense of loyalty to them, and usually they're right in there. But just because someone flies in through here and says, I got the best bid, that's not necessarily the best way for us to move. So I think it's important that we have that much discretion, because there are a lot of vendors, as I said, that we do work with a lot, and over the years, going back 40 years at least. So I think that's important.
And, I think that's well said. The bidder qualifications are also on here. Like you said, it's adequate financial resources, et cetera,
Yeah.
but also all of the things that flow below that.
Right.
Anything else on your end?
No, I don't think there was
Before,
one.
I want to talk to the department heads too, but what else, what do you have?
Well, is this procurement policy modeled after other procurement
Yes,
policies?
yes.
Because this is the first time we've seen this.
Right.
Right.
The town doesn't have a
Right.
procurement
Right.
policy, so.
And my point is,
New
it's,
Hampshire Municipal Association
yeah.
has samples, and
Yeah.
this is one of them.
So I guess my point is, it's an 11-page policy, and I'm not sure if I'm prepared to enter into or participate in a motion to approve this tonight, having not been able to read it and go through it. And so, and I don't have that opportunity right now. I would say if we could make this something like a first read and visit it again at our next meeting, I would be, that would give me time to do some homework on it and digest it. And understand a little bit more and figure out how I feel about the highlighted dollar amounts in here.
Yeah,
I
I'd
know
like-
you know, came up with those somehow, but just give me an opportunity to digest it a little bit before I vote.
I would like to ask the department heads as well. So, Chief and Mike, I know you're here. Jay is here. Is Jim here? No.
Jim's not here.
Okay.
Kevin's
So,
here.
and Kevin, right, thank you. Any thoughts from raise your hand if the three of you have any thoughts on the limits. Chief?
I like it, I like the formality of it, you know, we don't have a policy, I think we've almost informally have followed almost all of these regulations with checking with the select board before major purchases and such. We actually, Mike and I went over credit card purchases for the year, and actually the original number was 1,000, and I don't think we had any, like, initial purchases with a credit card, but I will point out, we just ordered stickers and bike reflectors, and it was nearly $1,000 for that. So I'm glad that it's at 2, because you can creep up to 1,000
Yeah.
pretty quick,
Yeah.
and it would be kind of bureaucratic to go through the process of getting the board to approve those kind of things. But I think the bidding process, we kind of do that. the blind bidding for when we sold the old truck, we did that. I like that there's a caveat to modify bids, because if it's a purchase of a static good, that's a one-time purchase, not that big of a deal to go with the lowest bidder. But with us, the most important thing is the service of the vehicles, and that has to be accessible, and we have to get priority. So going with a vendor that, maybe gives us that deference has a value, an intrinsic value, if not a cash value. So if two bids are close, like we had the last time we bought the car,
Right.
they were within hundreds of dollars, but Crest really gives us great service, and it's in the direction that we travel for other business. So I like those provisions. On first read, for me, it gives me no heartburn. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, just on a quick look, I don't think there's really anything unreasonable about it by any means. I mean, just piggyback on everything the chief said, it was the word on the vote.
And how's that mechanic school going? You're doing that next, so you don't have to hire? Good.
We'll do that to the higher.
Kevin, any thoughts from your end?
No, those numbers work for me. I
Okay.
mean, my biggest purchase every 5 years is a laptop. I think I've bought 2 in the last 13 years. So,
Getting deep.
We're gonna have to keep an eye on you. Jay, any thoughts for you?
No, it should be good. It's same as Chief Carly said. I looked at credit card, stuff I bought a credit card this year, and there was one that was close to $1,000, so increasing the amount is a little bit, makes it a little easier there. Everything else, I always use the theory, anytime I went over $8,000, I tried to bring it to the selectmen.
Good.
Same with having the ability to not go with the lowest bidder definitely has to be, because, for instance, the radio tower on Tyrol, Ospey Mountain is definitely not always the cheapest, but it'd be pretty difficult to deal with emergency communications for a company out of Massachusetts, so.
Right, agreed.
Yeah, no, good, fine.
Good. We'll touch base with Jim just to get his input from the highway department, but let's put this on the agenda. So we'll make a motion to table the procurement policy until our January 20th meeting.
Well, I'd like to just make a motion to accept it as a first read,
Oh,
with the
okay.
second read upcoming at the next meeting. That will be my motion.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, I mean, first glance, everybody
Yeah.
seems real happy with it, so thank you.
And then the next, actually, the credit card policy kind of piggybacks on this procurement policy where it puts the limits out there, but it also does not change really anything that we're doing. It more formalizes the folks that are using credit cards for the town credit cards. So purchases over 2,000 must be approved, and they can be used, but they have to be approved. And again, I don't think that's going to, as Chief said, cause anyone heartburn. The other thing talks about meals. We haven't had any kind of offense with people using it for meals outside of town business. And then any incentive benefits are owned by the town. I don't know if we have cashback cards now or anything like that. I think we get minor benefits from our cards that we have, so.
We do get growth points, but that comes back to the town.
And then, so did you have any questions or thoughts on this credit card policy?
No, I checked with Julie, and Julie seemed to have it pretty well figured out. Our administrator, I listened to her.
No,
Have that
I
one?
didn't get that one in my packet. I just have a delegation.
Oh, okay, that one's a bigger one.
Yeah,
Do you want to make,
that's existing right now. and-
no, this is
Oh,
brand new
okay.
as well.
Yeah,
Do you want to make a motion to
I'd like
table
to
it
make
until?
a motion to accept it as a first read and follow up with a second reading at the next meeting.
Good with that?
I'm not sure if it's necessary in this one, I understand the other one, but
Yeah.
I'm willing to go with
It's
what the
just,
group wants to
it's
go
new,
with.
and I haven't had a chance to even look at it yet.
All right,
I guess
let's
that's
put
okay.
it off for 2
Right.
weeks and
Couple
we'll
of
table
meetings.
it.
I don't think it's
so-
gonna change much, but.
No,
I don't either.
All
I'll second the
Okay.
motion and we'll do it on the next
All right,
meeting.
fine.
All right, all in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Okay.
We have some people standing in the hallway. Do we want?
Oh my gosh, yeah, invite them in. Yep.
Do you guys want to come in? There's seats in the front row. Or do you
This
want to
is
stand
seats
out there? Yeah.
You guys want to come in? There's a couple extra seats up here. We're not scary or anything, guys. Come on. Feel like you're sitting with us?
All these bodies are great for the heating bill.
I know. I did turn the heat down. All right. Our next policy item is the delegation of authority policy. So this is between the treasurer and the select board and finance office. Again, another policy that is required and recommended based on the auditors. So have you had a chance to read through this one?
I skimmed it. I guess I have a couple of questions. I'm assuming this is at the request of the auditors, that we need to have something like this on file. And I'm assuming that you've done your homework and come up with existing policies in existing towns on this.
Yes.
And is there anything in here, in your opinion, that would change really much at all about, as far as the way we're currently
Yeah,
delegating that authority?
It kind of addresses everything that we're currently doing, but now this makes it legal.
Codifies it.
In Department of Revenue's eyes, but the one thing is we have a new scanning machine where we can do electronic deposits right from our office.
Yeah,
And we've added that. So
That
we'll be able to
language.
do that because our bank now is down Conway, so the treasurer and deputy treasurer have to travel a far, far way now.
so it's just adding that piece from a new
Yeah, add that
technology
piece.
standpoint.
Yep.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
it's really slick though. Bank of New Hampshire is definitely a good bank to work with from the business side of things, so.
Yeah, I have no problem with
Yeah,
this.
all right. I will make a motion to approve the delegation of authority procedures.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Kathy read through all of that and she was in agreement with everything, so.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you all for what you do on the finance side. There's a lot of paperwork. Laura, you go. Okay. Thank you. The next is the Jackson Fire Department Incident Event Fee Policy. So this outlines the cost on a per-call basis if a rate charge is needed or reimbursement is charged. And it's for $1,931 per call. So the rates are listed by different per hour charges for like a Class A pumper, non-emergency versus emergency, the F truck utility truck per hour, fire chief truck, fire chief rate, and firefighter rate per member. So the exception is that forestry call rates within the jurisdiction of the state of New Hampshire Forests and Lands are dictated by the state of New Hampshire Forests and Lands, so that would be outside of our jurisdiction. This is for large-scale events, which may be charged at a per-hour cost, which would be different than the $1,931 per call. Jay, do you want to comment at all on any more on this?
That just came basically from taking the yearly budget we have and dividing it by the calls we have, came up with a basic, simple billing way to have an amount. For example, fireworks show in the summertime can be much more expensive than that. You can buy the hour and buy the truck, you could spend $3 or $4 grand in the summertime on a fireworks event. The hard part is figuring out what to charge for a $900,000 fire truck these days. For example, a $250,000 excavator, you get $250 an hour for. So what do you charge for a $900,000 fire truck per hour? So that's kind of why the straightforward fee for events is kind of an average over everything if we need to charge for something.
Can you give me an example of a call that you would charge on? like a fire, would it be a fireworks event, or, that would be
We
pre-planned?
haven't really charged anybody for fire calls. The only time we would is if we got into say a business, had a repeat offense of something that they were warned many times about, then we could charge for something. Like I said, we've never really charged anybody. Hazmat, you can charge for. If you had a call in the notch with a tanker truck, you get in, that'd be a large scale event that you charge for. Forestry is the only thing we've ever charged for, forest fires.
And then would this apply to only calls in Jackson, or would it apply to only,
No,
only
we-
calls outside of Jackson, or everything?
We've made, I don't want to use the word threat, but we've had to look into charging for like mutual aid calls.
Mhm.
We've never actually run it. But you could.
And then I guess my only other question is it going to be your responsibility to monitor and maintain the record of number of calls before you charge, or who you're
Yeah,
charging
we
for
do that.
consistency? And
With the businesses or the homeowners, like fire alarm activations or something, we monitor it, and when we see a business or a resident that, we're going to fire alarms 15 or 20 times a year, then we step in and try to figure out why, what can we do to solve it? We've done that a lot, and usually we solve it, so we haven't had to jump into charging.
questions?
Any example of when you would expect a mutual aid town to pay for something we've done?
Slim chance.
I'm not sure we should do it, unless it's really an egregious.
Correct,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Bob?
I've worked on this, with Jay. We're just trying to figure out a true cost and a fair charge for the fee policy. And I think that, we looked at everything from cost of the vehicles and the hourly cost and everything. And I think that the $1,931 per call fee is reasonable for a reimbursement expectation. And he's right. It's not a shall, it's a may. And so we like to be, as accommodating as we can with the use of these things within town. But if it's something that just keeps recurring and we keep incurring an expense to do, then this is a great incentivizer for.
I did do a bunch of research on the fireworks show, the chamber fireworks in town, and that if we charged it by hour and we had a minimal per hour cost for an engine or 3 engines, it was in the area of $3 to $4 grand time you paid all the payroll and you paid something for use of trucks, which was at a reduced rate because it wasn't, a rate when a truck is fighting a fire. It was a 50% type of rate for a truck sitting at idle. But it by the hour, it can get pricey.
So no, I'm comfortable with it.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the incident event fee policy for the Jackson Fire Department.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much for the input and for putting that together. Do you want to sign here? Waiting for. Thank you. All right, item 4G is an intent to cut for map R14, lot 15-B1 and 15B. No questions on this?
I have none.
No. All right, motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we didn't get a second.
Second, Frank.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor,
Thank
sorry.
It was a silent second.
Aye.
Yes, I'll sign.
Okay, 26.
Yeah.
Six.
1-6. Thank you. All right, fire station construction updates. Anything?
Well, we're continuing with the interior painting. We've got installation of tile work that's scheduled to begin this week and may even begin tomorrow or Thursday is what our understanding would be. And the outside trusses are being completed this week. That crew doing that work will be working on the trusses in the front of the building and the back of the building, and we're all pretty comfortable that that work should be done within a week. And completing the install of the hose tower stairs this week and the entrance canopies this week. Next week, we're looking to complete the installation of the tile in the bathrooms, and in 2 weeks, we're looking to start on either January 26th or more likely February 2nd, the epoxy project for the flooring on the ground level. Which was added to the project for slips, trips, and falls. Be a much safer floor as a result of the epoxy coating. And that should be starting, first week of February. But we're on a timeline that has got us a little bit ahead of schedule inside. And then once we get the truss work done on the outside, we'll pretty much be on schedule with the bulk of the outside work as well.
Awesome. We met with the ambulance, Bartlett Jackson Ambulance Committee, and they are getting their new ambulance in or around March of this year. And there was a question that came up of whether or not they're going to be able to keep the third vehicle. So they have 2 ambulances now, they will have 3. And we talked about the possibility of storing that third ambulance in the current fire station. And certainly we'll keep that in consideration. But like I said to a few other people that have asked, what's going to be done with the old fire station? We'll keep the list and keep it in mind, but making no commitments until we're in the building and know what's going on. So.
And the one thing I'll add to that is that the purpose for having that ambulance in our old fire station, once we complete that move, would be for having it respond to calls. It's not going to we're not going to store it.
Right.
Take it out just on transfer runs or anything that basic. It would be in town and for the purpose of responding to calls. That's the intent.
It's going to sit next to the old fire truck.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I've had lots of people over the years. In fact, there's someone sitting here now saying, why don't we have an ambulance in town? I said, the opportunity may be arising.
Yeah.
And it has
Yeah.
with the 3. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Top of the list. Town hall building, Stephen, any updates?
We're removing the plaster on the main floor. We were unable to repair that. And we are starting to construct the elevator tower in the back of the building.
Awesome. Bob?
How's your budget looking?
So far, so good.
Good. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, no short-term rental conditional use permits, no new building or driveway permits. So any public comment? Sarah?
Yes, my name is Sarah Clemens. I'm a 15-year retiree. I'm here to say that I understand that everybody has had to change insurances, but this year has been a total nightmare. The town of Jackson, in my opinion, did not fully explore the change to the policy for the retirees. I am one of the persons that have been down and taken up your employee or the administrator's time. For 2+ hours, she and I tried to talk to the new insurance company, CGI, to figure out what was happening with the retirement stipend and payment. And we still haven't got it straightened out. I have spent a minimal of probably 8 hours with CGI and their representatives, and they have been unable to give me information that I need. Again, I was here this week, and Julie can attest to the fact that we've had to come and put time in again to try to figure it out. And as a retiree,
Okay, go ahead.
as a retiree and a senior citizen, you have a window of opportunity to put your schedule together, and it has not worked cohesively with this company. Number 2, I went to Gibson Center to meet with Ellie, who does the
Medicare.
supplementary prescription drug for you. I chose a prescription drug program to go with my supplementary insurance that I purchased, which I pay for through the town of Jackson. I got a letter in the mail telling me that the company that I had chosen and the program I had chosen had been canceled. I then get a letter the next day, which I have been down here to speak with Julie about, that said they had changed my prescription drug program from the program I chose to another company, Humana. I want to know, and this is a question I know you can't answer because they can't even answer it, what gave them the right to change that without my permission or my knowledge? And Julie can attest that Mr. Brian McVeigh, who is the consultant for the senior citizens and the retirees in Jackson, said he did it. Again, without my knowledge or my permission. And I have since today, I have spoken to Karen at New Hampshire Retirement, and she is working on this to help straighten it out, because it is the first time that I have had to pay the entire fee for this insurance up front, instead of them taking my portion, the small subsidy that I get from New Hampshire Retirement, take it in their possession at CGI, and then I pay the difference. I had to pay for the entire thing in advance. Julie can attest to this because she helped me, because I do not own a computer. I had to give them my banking information so that they can reimburse me for this payment. Again,
Sarah, I appreciate, I'd like to talk to you separately after the meeting about this, because again, like you said, there's nothing I can comment on or do
I
at this
understand
point.
that, but
so.
I'm just saying that it used to be, and this is ancient history, that we would meet with the insurance companies. The town of Jackson and the retirees would meet in this building, and we would talk. But we don't do that anymore. It's all computer, and again, I would like, if you would allow it, Julie to say what it has been like for the last, and as I say, senior citizens have a deadline. And I am very, very upset that all of this wasn't discussed before this deadline or at any time, because Julie was just as surprised about everything I've just spoken about as I was.
Okay, thank you. Bob, did you have a comment?
Well, I was just wondering, is your experience with CGI is that they're non-responsive?
Not on our end, but definitely for the retirees. And it's different because we're so used to working with the pooled insurance companies that have representatives that come up and meet with us. And because we went to a small vendor group,
Right.
It's different, you know. Even our employees' insurance is different. We're gonna have a lot of more out-of-pocket costs. So
I think it's safe to say too, though, that we committed to this company for 1 year. And
Yes.
I don't love to use that as an excuse, but this feedback is important to know what decision we need to make for the upcoming year and what our due diligence needs to look like moving forward for a new plan. It has been a really tough year completely, and everybody that has heard anything from the school districts and any of the other municipalities, when the health trust went out, went under, it left everyone scrambling, and I'm sure everyone's seen Conway's millions of dollars that they've had to pay in healthcare costs. So it has absolutely been a horrific year for trying to make this insurance as seamless as possible. Knowing that you've had a bad experience will help us make a decision moving forward, and I will follow up with you after this, Sarah.
Thanks.
Fair enough.
Any other public comments?
Penny, I was curious, does Bartlett or Conway charge Jackson for mutual aid?
No.
And, okay, and also another one, it sounds like there's some subjective, there's some room for opinion about when to charge and when not to charge, and I guess I would encourage to nail those down and set some parameters so it's less subjective in regards to false alarms, number of false alarms, or calls, or fireworks, and things like that.
All right, thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, Kevin?
I'd just like to make a comment that you don't hear much about the fire department being out in the middle of the night. And we were at a call, this was a bad car accident up in Macon Lodge, and it was a very small crew. And it was for a pickup truck that went off the road. And there was a woman who got thrown around inside. And anyway, we had to cut the roof off, and it turned out that she had a broken femur and pelvis. And we got her into the ambulance pretty quickly and transported her. But you never hear that in the paper or
Right.
or here. So the rescue tools that we purchased, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, came into good use again.
Thank you. Thanks for putting yourselves out there. It does go unspoken and unheard of a lot, so. Anyone else? All right, I will announce the new meeting dates. Well, they're not new, but they're next meeting dates. 2 weeks from tonight, January 20th at 3:30 is our regular select board meeting, and immediately following that is our budget hearing number 1, and we'll probably be closing the loop on some of the things we talked about today as well. As soon as we have a budget draft, we'll get that out, make it available so you guys can be prepared before you come to the first budget hearing. I would love to be able to put up more chairs, so keep coming to the meetings. Budget hearings are almost more important than town meeting because that's when we can look at everything line by line. We can have dialogue. When you get to town meeting, we can't change the lines. We can only change the total budget. So it's really important to be here at the budget hearings so we can talk about every single department and every single line as much as we need to. And then the next meeting following that is Tuesday, February 3rd, which is the first Tuesday. Normally we meet on the second Tuesday, so please note it's on the first Tuesday of February at 3:30, and then following that meeting will be the budget hearing number 2 and petition warrant articles. And we may flip that. We may do petition warrant articles first because we may have a lot of them this year. We're not sure, but we want to make sure that we get everything covered. So please mark your calendars, bring beverages and pillows and blankets. We'll be here for. So that is our next meetings, and then just town meeting is on March 7th is our voting day.
March 10th
And
is voting day.
10th is election day, and the 12th is town meeting at 7 o'clock at the Whitney Center. So mark your calendar for those as well. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the public meeting at 4:34 and take a really quick break, and we'll meet again for the public hearing. So, motion to adjourn, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks. Be right back.